I was reading Matthew chapter 6 this last week, and Jesus tells us in verse 25, do not be anxious. Now, anxiety is a weird command to find in the same passage as do not murder and do not commit adultery. But Jesus tells us not to be anxious for a couple of different reasons. He says, first, anxiety doesn't accomplish anything. You can't make one hair on your head white or black. You can't extend the number of your days or change your circumstances. Anxiety accomplishes nothing. In fact, if you look further into the scriptures, anxiety is the one emotion that has no useful purpose. Even emotions such as anger and wrath and jealousy, we find that those in their proper context actually have uses in our lives. In fact, God is wrathful in certain circumstances. God is jealous. God is angry in some context. And yet, anxiety is the one emotion that has no useful context. It really serves no purpose. But Jesus doesn't just leave us there. He doesn't just tell us, do not be anxious, and then tell you to try harder. He says two things. He says, remember the birds of the air and the lilies of the field. He said the birds aren't anxious for anything. They don't work, and yet God provides them with food and shelter and takes care of them. How much more will He take care of a person, an actual image bearer of God? And the lilies of the field. He said all the kings of the earth, including the greatest king, Solomon, wishes he looked as beautiful as a lily. So as you go through your day-to-day, I pray that if you find yourself anxious, that you would confess that to the Lord, and then pay attention to the birds and the flowers that God puts in your life. And every time you see a bird or every time you see a flower, make a conscious effort to remind yourself that that is a sign from God that He loves you and He'll take care of you.